Hello, and today we're in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 18. Today, a man devoid of understanding shakes hands in a pledge and becomes a surety for his friend. What is God saying here? Before you enter into any agreement whatsoever, make sure you understand what you're entering into. You need to understand what's going on, and don't enter agreement and become the person who guarantees something for a friend. What will happen is you become the guarantee. Your reputation will align the same as his or hers or whoever is in there. Make sure. So first of all, let's just do the first part. The man of understanding shakes his hand in a pledge, devoid of understanding. Before you shake your hand, do not do that because you go later on. Oh, I didn't think that was the deal. Our court system in America is cluttered with people saying, "Well, that's not what I meant to sign." Oh no, you got to be careful about that. I remember one of my favorite cases I ever saw on the People's Court. One of my favorite shows of all time was this guy was suing this moving company he had hired. They had hired this moving company, and the moving company had had moved his furniture, and they broke a priceless antique of his. And so, and they offered to reimburse him what the contract said. And the man said, "No, you need to pay me back for this." So they go to the court. They stand before Judge Marilyn Monroe, and the guy presents his case, tells it, and they broke it and did all this, and I'm suing them. This is the value of that antiquity, and I think he was suing for like $10,000. It's worth way more than that, but this is the max I can sue for. So the judge goes over to the movers who are there, and she says, normally you have a court case, you have two sides, right? And usually the defendant side is going to say something, and they may lie. They're going to do something and say, "Oh, that's not the way it was, Judge." The movers sit there and say, "Yes, Judge, you're right. Yeah, yep, we were wrong. We broke that. We absolutely did. It was 100% our fault." And the judge is great, wonderful. So why don't you owe this man this money? And they said, "Judge, here's the contract he signed." And so she reads through the contract, and she turns to the plaintiff and says, "Did you read your contract before you signed it?" He's like, "No." And he says, "Did they ask you to read for that?" "Yeah, but it's just a standard contract. I signed it." "Well, there's a clause in it. And it's almost in every, by the way, if you ever get hire movers, almost every mover has this in their contract. The numbers might change, but you might want to look for this clause. And because if you don't waive this clause, if you don't negotiate this clause, you're stuck to it. And they had a clause in the contract that said this, that if we break anything, we agree to pay 60 cents per pound. Now, the movers are like, "Yeah, Judge, we broke it. And we are more than willing to pay the $2.40 because it was a 4 pound item." And the movers like, "We will happily give him his $2.40. Um, because that's what the contract says. And yeah, we did it. But he signed this, Judge. Long story short, the judge ruled in favor of the plaintiff for the $2.40. The plaintiff was mad as a hornet. But the judge said, "You don't have any reason to be mad. You didn't understand what you signed. You didn't read it. So please, before you make any agreement on this planet, understand what you're getting into. Understand all the things that are going with that." And the last one, it becomes surety for his friend. Do not sign an agreement for somebody else. "Hey, would you co-sign this loan for me?" You can't do that. And here's why you can't do that. If your friend can't get what they need on their own right now, then whatever they're trying to get, they're not ready to have. Because if they can't do it on their own, surely they're going to default. And guess what? Not only would their reputation be ruined, but so would yours at the same time. And then you won't be able to help them. You both would be ruined. It would be better for the friend not to get what the friend wanted and to earn their reputation back, build their credit back up, whatever they had to do to get whatever they were going to get a better job, make more money, whatever it is. And you know what? They would appreciate it more when they get there. Because see, when you become a surety for your friend, all kinds of bad things happen. Number one, whoever, if it's a loan, the bank's looking at you as, "Hey, you're going to guarantee, and if you don't, you'll go down the tubes just like your friend." If you don't make it good and your friend decides to not pay on it or not be good on the promise your friend does, maybe it's a promise you made to somebody. You say, "Yeah, I vouch for that person," and they mess up. Your reputation is ruined as well as the friend's reputation. Never vouch for someone else. Ever. That's what this verse is saying. Everybody needs to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. Now, what if your friend can't stand on their own 2 feet? Then you show them how to stand on their own 2 feet. Yes, it might take longer than the friend wants, but when the friend gets there, they won't need anybody else. They'll be able to stand on their own 2 feet, and they won't drag you down with them. And here's the thing, if you get drugged down with them, that'll ruin the friendship. It'll actually create a war. It'll create stress in your life that you never wanted to have. This verse is one of the most important verses in the Bible because this is why so much strife is involved in this world, because people put their name out there, get their name to something, and they go, oh, and their name gets drawn through. That's not who I am. But no, but you guaranteed that person. You guaranteed that loan. You guaranteed that person's reputation. You guaranteed to me that they would work out for me. I've had that happen in my lifetime. I had a situation a few years ago where there was a guy who wanted to work for a certain guy that I knew. And so I got them together, and so this friend said, "Hey, what about this guy? Can I work for him?" And I said, "Well, he has a business. He's known for paying. He pays his employees on time. He has a reputation." And my advice was, "Hey, go ahead and go work for him. I think it'll work out great." And I introduced them together. I said, "You guys make a deal together," and the working relationship started out great. Everything was wonderful. Then, about 3 months later, things went sour in a hurry. And my friend came to me, sat in my office right across from where I'm sitting right now. And he blamed me for all the things that had gone wrong. And here's what had gone wrong. The person he was working for, he asked him if he had this investment opportunity. Now, with every investment opportunity comes risk. And my friend invested in it, and the investment went belly up. Now, the guy still had his job at that company, but now the relationship between the boss and the employee had soured. And he came to me, he says, and he lost quite a bit of money, five-figure sum. And he was blaming me because now his reputation was sold and money he needed to pay for other things was gone because I vouched for this employer. And I just sit down and tell him, hey, I love you dearly, but you asked me if you could go work for him, and I did the due diligence and checked him out and checked out his record on paying people. And I said, you could go work for him. And I said, has he paid you on time every week? Yes, he has. Did I ever say that you should go invest with him? And he looked at me and said, no, you never said that. I would never vouch for him in that type of thing. I never put your money out there for that because the Bible says don't do that. Okay? If you want to invest, that's totally up to you. Now, you would come to me and ask me. I could have maybe helped you do your due diligence. Now, I would never have told you, yeah, go ahead and invest. I say, hey, go make up your own mind. What do you think? This is the evidence I got. This is what I have. Now, you make the choice on your own. But I'm not going to make the choice with you because he wanted me to basically bail him out of the jam. And I'm like, I didn't put you in the jam. You need a job? I got you the job. I never said that you should take your life savings and invest it in what he was doing. You could have easily said, no, I'm not going to do that. But you took a chance and you did not. Well, first part of the verse, a man devoid of understanding shakes hands in the pledge. Did you do your research on this guy's ability to invest? And we got to be able to do it. So many things in our lives, so much of the stress in our life comes from not taking this one particular verse seriously in all that we do. And when we do that, your life will be better and your friends will be better. And they'll be able to be better in the long run where you'll have a lasting friendship and they'll thank you for that. At the moment, they might not. Like, man, a real friend would do that for me. A real friend, here's the response to that. You want the response to that? Real simple. A real friend wouldn't put me in that position. Let me help you get better. Don't put me or my family or my reputation on the line. Let me help you build yours up so you can do that. And that's honoring God and being wise. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you in church on Sunday, whether live in person or online. And remember, Jesus loves you. I love you. And you're absolutely awesome.